Hey guys, Taylor Shear here, and on behalf of Keith, Jonica, and Kason, and the whole entire crew at Cross 85 Showgoats, I want to thank you for tuning in to this preview of their June 14th online weather sale on SC Online. Now, let's get into it. We start the sale with the one that probably isn't going to be the first one you grab when you enter into the barn, mainly because this guy isn't the most extreme or offers the most ESTs. But the reason that we start to sell with them is because this is the most fault-free animal in the whole entire cell. This guy is extremely balanced and correct in his design and his outline. And this guy is really correct in his angulation on both ends of his skeleton. He wedges extremely well in the front one quarter of his body, lays a very smooth shoulder into that body cavity, and then has a neck that ties right out of the top of his blade. The guy's really bold and smooth in that forerib. And then we get to the backside, and he comes off of the top of his hip, extremely correct, and is really good in the angle that he places his hock to the ground. We get on top of him, and he handles extremely well, spanning with a great deal width and dimension from blade to hip. You get your hands on him, and he handles with a paper-thin hide and really good hair. This guy's going to stay fresh for a long time. No, we don't think this is going to be the biggest heavyweight in the barn, but he's not going to be a lightweight either. This one's going to be really complete from end to end. I think he's going to hit a lot of judges really well, and I think he's going to be super versatile. Next is Lot 2, and this one has been a barn favorite from day one, and rightfully so. When you step into the pen, this guy just screams Showgoat. He's very long and extended from the side, very tall from the ground to the point of his shoulder, very crisp to his edges, and extremely shallow to his underline. Probably one of my favorite things about this animal, though, is when we put him in motion. I think he's extremely fluid and very attractive in the way he gets about the ring. He's very high-headed and takes a really pretty front stride. We get on top of this guy, and he doesn't disappoint. He handles extremely bold behind his blade and massive at the 13th rib. As you continue to feed this guy and push on him, he's just going to get thicker and stouter as he goes along. With all this being said, I think this guy is as good genetically as he is phenotypically. This guy is the cross of a soldier boy's son back on one of our best shrank donors. And if that muscle pattern comes through with the way this one's designed, you should have no problem getting into the backdrop here in the spring, no matter what judge you put this one in front of. Next is Lot 3, and this is the surprise go to the group. Being the younger in the set and covered in a lot of fuzzy hair, we weren't quite sure what he would be. But underneath all that fuzzy hair was an absolute good one. This one might be one of the most athletic goats in the whole entire set, having that really cool side profile, but still being ripped up and expressive in his muscle pattern. He also, proportionally, probably is one of the stoutest footed in the bunch. Even though he's very green, this is probably one of my favorite handling goats of the whole entire bunch. He touches with an extremely good hide and offers a wide, square, uniform top shape from his blade all the way back to his hip, and drops down with a very dimensional outer flare and inner twist. View this guy from behind, and he hits the ground and tracks with about as much base width as anything else. We read this guy to be highly competitive from anywhere from the top side of Division 1 all the way through Division 2. I think he'll be extremely functional for the judge in Houston and is definitely showy enough for the guy in Austin. Next is Lot 4, and this is the powerhouse of the cell. This guy offers every turn and curve you could ever want in one. This guy is truly three-dimensional, with a big, massive chest, bold rib shape, massive top, and an upper hip that would rival a hog. Now, with all of that muscle talk though, his biggest EST has to be his cannons for legs. If you looked up stout featured in the dictionary, you'd find Lot 4. Now, yeah, we understand this is not the tallest made or most fluid in motion, but this guy is still extremely functional at both ends of his skeleton and offers a muscle pattern that will not be beat. We think this guy has San Antonio written all over it. Unlike cattle, hogs, and sheep, goats don't get divided by breeds. But I will tell you this, everybody has that division that they love to be in. And if you love heavyweights, here's the one for you. Lot 5 is the big bruiser of the cell. This guy is massive-footed, huge skeleton, wide made, and lays on slabs of product. This guy is extremely bold rib, opened up to the center part of his body, handles with a massive rack, big loin, huge upper hip, and is going to be one big made, stout constructed Wether. Now, I will tell you, make sure you got an exercise program for this one, because he's going to love the feed bucket and he's going to want to get a little soft on you. But I think if you keep him tuned up, he'll be just fine. We think this guy is an amazing candidate to go out and win your county show and try to get one of those sell placings in Division 4 at San Antonio. Next is Lot 6, and I'm begging you not to miss this one. This goat came right out of the keeper pen, and I'm not joking when I tell you it took weeks of conversation and going back and forth and before this goat was finally slated for the sale. This guy is hands down one of the coolest lightweight goats I've seen in a long time. He is extremely high-headed and prances around the ring like a little athlete. You get on top of him and he is extremely expressive. This guy has a groove that runs from his blade all the way back to his hip and offers an extreme amount of turn to the top side of his skeleton while still being very bold in his forerib and really good in his underline. This guy's upper hip is wide and square, and when we watch him track from behind, he hits the ground with a great deal of genuine base width. This little goat is going to be impressive, and I think if you fed him and got him really fat, you could hit that Class 1, Class 2 at San Antonio, or you could exercise, keep him trim, and I think he is an extremely good one for both Houston and Austin. Next is Lot 7, and he's the full brother to one of the goats that we did keep this year, and he has a lot of the same great qualities. Yes, this guy is a little bigger from the side, being a little taller from the ground to the point of his shoulder and a little more extended through his spine. Nonetheless, though, I think this guy is still extremely smooth. A lot of times when we do get into bigger framed animals, they tend to get a little piecey, a little choppy. They want to get a little wasty. And that's not going to be this goat. We get on top of him and he still offers tons of turn and shape to the top side of his skeleton and handles with a lot of depth through his loin. I think this guy is going to be an extremely competitive goat for any county show with tons of upside and potential going into majors. Next is Lot 8. And no, this isn't the most elite goat in the bunch, but he still offers a very round muscle pattern, still offers some good shape through his rib, is still extremely stout-footed, and when we get in behind him, still offers a lot of outer flare and inner twist. This could still be a really great county-level project. We conclude the sale with one of my favorite lots. Lot 9 from the side is one of the smoothest made, most flawless profiling goats in the whole entire set. He combines that look with a great muscle pattern. This guy handles extremely good to the top side of his skeleton. He's very opened up and offers a lot of turn right there through his rack, handles extremely deep and wide at the 13th rib, and probably has one of the best hip-loin junction transitions I've seen in a goat to date. We view this guy from behind, and yes, even though he's a little green today, he offers deep serrations in that muscle and ties it extremely low down into the hock. This guy has the type of muscle pattern that is going to explode with feed and exercise. I think this guy is extremely functional, very balanced, and I think this one's going to hit the Houston judge extremely hard.